Has Bitcoin bottomed, or is there more pain ahead? Today, I quantified realized price, short and long-term holders, all ahead on today's REKTelligence report. As a friendly reminder, everything in today's show is for informational purposes only. There is no investment advice given. All right, let's get into the show. Hey everyone, welcome. I'm Dave. This is the All Markets Report where I quantify an asset class or two with an eye to the week ahead. This week, I'm diving into crypto, specifically Bitcoin with on-chain data. What is it telling us about whether Bitcoin has bottomed, whether it has not bottomed? That is something I'm going to get into today, as well as key themes. That's where we'll start. Equities, crypto. Let's get into it. Before we do the crypto deep dive, let's talk about this week's key themes. I'll start with the stock market. And first, according to the Stock Traders Almanac, June is seasonally a headwind in midterm election years, averaging negative 2.1%. So as we wrap up May and head into early summer in June, of course, keep this in mind. Warsh is now the official new Fed chair. We've spent years with Jerome Powell. And of course, markets watch every move, every utterance of any Fed chair. However, this will be particularly the case right now. And keep an eye on independence. Is Warsh truly going to be independent as Jerome Powell endeavored to be? This is a big question in light of the president's pressure on Powell formerly, and now with Warsh coming in. And of course, inflation on the rise. Friday this week, PCE is coming out. This will be the biggest print of the week. Of course, this is traditionally the Fed's favorite inflation measure, so keep that in mind. In terms of crypto, the Clarity Act, this is potentially a make or break week. Senator Moreno set a hard end of May deadline, pass the bill by month end, or face indefinite shelving. So keep an eye on that. This could be very bullish for crypto. On the other hand, it could also be a consolidation or even a negative event, depending on this binary Clarity Act. NVIDIA as a crypto proxy, NVIDIA's Q1 blowout directly validates the AI infrastructure build-out thesis. This is bullish for the AI token sector and for crypto's macro narrative as a risk-on beneficiary of AI capital flows. Lastly, many Bitcoin and altcoin signals recently closed. I have many edges and a mix of both modest Bitcoin and alt gains and some modest losses are what we've seen here as momentum has stalled recently. We're going to talk more about that momentum and why we stalled, where we stalled, and all of that coming up next. Traders, crypto is not a wild, unruly market. It's an asset class with 500% more time for price discovery and opportunity. My new course, Crypto Trader's Edge, is now live through Algo Advantage, one of the top quant pods and academies out there. A full systematic framework, backtesting, strategy development, validation, real edges with full code, not hype. Links in the description or head to my Substack at REKTelligence. Now back to the show. Now let's take a look at Bitcoin from an on-chain perspective and get some insight into where we are right now and get some historical perspective as well. So we'll start here. This is Bitcoin now. We've got a candle chart representing the Bitcoin price, and we're going back just to late 2024 to the present. We also have three lines. The middle line currently is blue. That is realized price. This is the average cost basis of the entire network. This includes Satoshi's coins. This includes an algo that just fired as I'm speaking. So it includes all of it. Now, the other two lines are the realized price, but with different holding definitions. So look at the red line. These are Bitcoin holders and their average cost basis for short-term traders. These are those who have held for less than 155 days. The line on the bottom, the green line, realized price LTH or long-term holders. This is for those who have held Bitcoin greater than 155 days. You can see it's a little bit lower than the realized price, whereas the short-term holder level, of course, is pretty much where we are currently, and price is getting rejected, in fact, from that level. I don't have the 200-day moving average on this chart. That, of course, is just a technical moving average. It's not on-chain data, but that also has been an obstacle for Bitcoin as it has been in earlier bounce attempts as well. Let's state a couple things here. First of all, short-term holders remain above the realized price. So their cost basis is above the realized price or the cost basis for the whole network. Long-term holders have their cost basis below the realized price by a little bit currently. Now let's get some perspective on what has happened at previous bottoms. I'm going to go back to 2015, where this data is just beginning right as the market is bottoming. So we have a slightly incomplete picture here, but both short-term holders and realized price were below the long-term holders' average cost basis when this bottomed in 2015. So remember that. That is important. Let's look at 2019. We see here where I have that box, the short-term holder cost basis crossed under, and then it capitulated right near the 2019 bottom. And also notice that both the realized price at one point as well as the short-term holders cost basis, the red line, so blue and red, were both below the LTH line, the long-term holders average cost basis. That happened in 2015. It happened in 2019. We can see that the market bottomed shortly after this time, but again, we saw realized price and the short-term holder realized price all fall below the long-term holder cost basis. Let's go to 2022's bottom. Again, blue box looks very similar. Short-term holders as well as the realized price of the entire network fell below the long-term holder price. That was just before the 2022 bottom. And things really shifted moving into 2023. We saw a very robust bounce early in that month, and it was a couple good years, 2023 and 2024, before 2025, which was a slightly down year. So again, we see that same characteristic in all three prior cycle bottoms. So to be clear, we would need to see, if it were going to replicate the past pattern, we would need to see the short-term holder red line as well as realized price, the blue line, fall below that green long-term holders average cost basis. That's currently around 50,000. Thanks for watching today's All Markets Report. We are at a particularly fascinating and compelling moment in financial markets, in my view. We have a brand new Fed chair coming in as inflation is pushing higher. We've had some very hot prints lately. Amidst a war where the Strait of Hormuz is closed, there's a possible reconciliation or agreement on the table, but very hard to unpack that. We see conflicting information from both sides. We have stocks making new highs on new era AI and semi activity. We have yet old era stocks not contributing a ton. So there is a narrowing of leadership. Not something we really talked about much today, but that is a theme for all of 2026. In terms of crypto, we are in a bear market. We've seen some nice progress to the upside in a lot of crypto assets, Bitcoin, of course, as well. And yet we've recently seen Bitcoin stall at the 200-day moving average and at what we looked at today, the short-term holders average cost basis, just slightly overhead. If Bitcoin is going to bottom, and let me tell you, there are a lot of very respected analysts saying Bitcoin has bottomed, that it's different this time. However, if we are going to replicate or even rhyme with any past cycle low, we will need to see Bitcoin decline further. All of this is plenty to look at as we go forward. I'll keep you updated in Substack notes and elsewhere. And of course, I'll see you in Thursday's Edge Report. Until then, trade smart, live well, and cheers for now.